Hare Krishna, welcome to this 18-day session on the systematic study of the greatest literature available to mankind, Srimad Bhagavatam. We have been discussing the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and before we begin today's session, I shall chant a few prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayeta Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So I would like to welcome once again everyone to this systematic study of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam contains 12 cantos, 335 chapters and 18,000 shlokas, and we have been discussing the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam that contains 19 chapters and 808 shlokas. So we have already discussed about the questions asked by the sages assembled at the holy sacred place of Naimisharanya, and the perfect answers given by the leader of this spiritual assembly, Suta Goswami. We have also heard the amazing histories of the compiler of the entire Vedic literature, Vedavyasa, and also how by the inspiration of his guru, spiritual master Narada Muni, he now composed the greatest, the topmost, the purest among all the Vedic scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam has begun from the events after the conclusion of the battle of Mahabharata, and we have also discussed the very beautiful prayers offered by some of the greatest devotees of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, by Queen Kunti, and later also the very wonderful prayers offered by the very great personality Bhishma Deva on his deathbed during his final moments before death. So now, in the 10th chapter of the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam begins with another inquiry by Shaunaka Rishi, who is heading the sages of Naimisharanya. So he inquired on the behalf of all the sages to Suta Goswami. Shaunaka uvacha hatva swariktha spridha adataino Yudhisthiro dharma bhritam varishtaha sahanujay pratyavaruddha bhojanaha katham pravrittaha kimakarashi tataha. After the deadly battle of Mahabharata, in which so many people were massacred, and this was with the main intention of removing the irreligious sons of Dhritarashtra and to install the highly spiritual and religious Yudhisthira Maharaj to be the sovereign ruler of the earth. So Shaunaka now inquired that after Yudhisthira Maharaj Maharaj became the sovereign ruler of the entire earth, Sarvabhauma, how did he rule the earth? And did he now rule without material desires and objectives? So this is a very important inquiry, because in the earlier times, monarchy was not a selfish monopoly of some set of people or families who would rule with the intention of personal gratification. The rulers were also the kings of yore, especially kings like Yudhisthira Maharaj were qualified as Raja Rishis. They were as great personalities as Rishis. They were as spiritually advanced. And therefore, Shaunaka Rishi asked this very significant query. And in reply, Suta Goswami now narrates the extraordinary and unparalleled rule of Dharmaraja Yudhisthira. In this 10th chapter of the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam is also the description of the departure of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna from Hastinapura to his abode of Dwaraka. Also in this chapter are recorded the very beautiful prayers offered by the women residents of Hastinapura at the departure of Krishna. So Suta Goswami begins to narrate that Suta Uvacha Vamsham Kuror Vamshadavagni Nirhitam Samrohayitva Bhava Bhavano Harihi Nisheva Niveshayitva Nijarajya Ishvaro Yudhishtiram Pritamana Babhuvaha. Actually, this was the plan and the supreme will of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, that Yudhishthira should become the sovereign ruler of this earth. And when Krishna accomplished this, Pritamana, he was very pleased. And even Yudhishthira, it is described that he Shashasa Gham, he ruled over the entire earth. Nishamya Bhishmoktam Atha Achyutoktam. He ruled exactly according to the instructions that he had heard from Bhishma Deva. Nishamya Bhishmoktam Atha Achyutoktam. Achyuta is another name of Krishna, and according to the guidance and instructions given by the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. So, in ruling the kingdom, the supreme guiding principles for Yudhishthira Maharaj were the instructions given by Bhishma Deva and by the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. So, in this way, if anyone at any given point of time understands this principle, that the law of rule, shasana or administration, must be performed according to the guidance and directions given by the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna and his representatives like Bhishma Deva, then the result of such an administration would be so amazing and wonderful that it is described, it would exactly be as described here in the text of the Srimad Bhagavatam. In 1.10.4, Suta Goswami explains that Kamam Vavaksha Pagjanyo Sarva Kama Dughamahi Shishichusma Vrajan Gavaha Payaso Dhasvatir Muda. During the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthira, the clouds showered all the water that people required. So, rainfall and water is the basic necessity for a prosperous kingdom, for a prosperous desha or country. And during the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthira, Kamam vavaksha pagjanyaha. The clouds showered exactly the sufficient amount of rainfall. There is something called anavrishti or scarcity of rainfall, and then there is also ativrishti or excessive rainfall. So during the reign of Maharaj Yudhisthira, Kamam vavaksha pagjanyo. So rain was exactly as was desired by the people, as was required by the people. Likewise, Sarva Kama Dugha Mahi. Mahi is another name of earth. The earth supplied all the necessities of people in profusion, in very, very profusely and abundantly. The earth provided all the required necessities, especially the gifts of earth are food grains and all kinds of natural resources. So this was provided, and also Sishichusma Vrajan Gavaha Payasodhasvatir Muda Gavaha. The next very important requirement for the human society to lead a happy, healthy and prosperous existence is the requirement of milk and milk products. It is explained in the Vedic scriptures that there is a miracle in milk. Milk is considered in the Ayurvedic texts to be the most miraculous food, which nourishes not only the physical body but also the mental and the mental tissues, as well as the spiritual intelligence of humans is enlivened and sparked by the consumption of cow milk and the milk products. So during the reign of Maharaj Yudhisthira, Gavaha, the cows, provided so much of abundance of milk that practically the Vrajan means the pasturing grounds, they were Sishichusma, the milk would moisten the entire pasturing grounds. So this is real economic development and real prosperity. Prosperity is not advancement of economic development, should not be measured by the industrial advancement, which is a very, very unsustainable kind of development. This industrial revolution just started a few centuries back, and today, just within a few centuries, we have created such a terrible situation to all the aspects of environment that we do not know what is going to happen in the next few decades as well. So we have exploited the resources of material nature, we have exploited Mother Nature to such a great extent that this has become very highly unsustainable, and there is always the great danger, environmental dangers of global warming, of ozone layer depletion, and many such troubles. Whereas when man learns to live in harmony with the principles of nature, one can live for that kind of a human civilization can go on uninterrupted in its prosperity and economic development for centuries and for yugas, for a very, very long time. It is also very, very beautifully mentioned in 1.10.5 by Suta Goswami that Nadyaha samudra girayaha savanaspati vidudaha phalantyoshadaya sarva kamam anvrutu tasya vai. All the natural elements, including Nadyaha, the rivers, Samudraha, the oceans, the hills, the mountains, the forests, the creepers, the Aushadhihi, the active drugs and the medicines, in all the various seasons, they provided profusely and abundantly to all the people. And we should remember that the cause for this abundance of supply by Mother Nature is due to the presence of a godly and saintly king in Maharaj Yudhisthira. He was such a great personality, such an advanced spiritual personality, Maharaj Yudhisthira. Another name of Yudhisthira is Ajata Shatru. Ajata Shatru means one whose enemy is not born. So Maharaj Yudhisthira was so magnanimous in his nature that he is Ajata Shatru. His enemy was not born, but still the nature of this material world and material existence is such that although one may not make any enemies willingly, one may not have animosity towards anyone, but still there would be envious people like Duryodhana who became enemy even of the Ajata Shatru Yudhishthira Maharaj. So it is explained very, very beautifully in 1.10.6 that Nadhayo Vyadhaya Klesha Daiva Bhutatma Hetavaha Ajata Shatrava Bhavan Jantunam Ragni Karhichit. When Ajata Shatru Yudhishthira Maharaj, whose enemy was never born, ruled this earth, the condition of this world and the people, the citizens of this world was so wonderful that even not only did nature supply all the necessities and all its treasures in abundance profusely to the people, even the people were free from Vyadhi. Vyadhi refers to diseases. So just like we have right now an outbreak of a pandemic, in fact every year we have been seeing one after the another some kind of there was earlier the avian flu, and then there was chikungunya, H1N1, Zika, Nipah, and this year we have the COVID-19. One after the other, every year there is a launch of a new kind of a pandemic, a disease. So whereas we should note here very, very importantly, in fact the governments of the entire world, the United Nations, should take this instruction from the Srimad Bhagavatam, that if we are serious to become, if we are serious in our approach to provide benefit to humanity, if we are well-wishers of humanity, if we want to keep the world and the people of this world free from diseases, we should simply follow the formula given here by the Srimad Bhagavatam. The kings, the rulers, the governments of all the nations of this world must submit to the supreme will of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna and abide by the instructions given by the Supreme Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the guidelines given by the representatives of the Supreme Lord like Bhishma Deva, Kunti, and all the great Mahajanas, as is recorded in the text of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And definitely, even in this most degraded age of Kali Yuga, even if this is taken at the level of the entire world, or at the level of one country, or even one state, one district, one city, or even at the level of one village, or even one area, or even one family, or even an individual. At whatever unit this is applied, that unit would be protected, would be insulated from all the external disturbances of even diseases, not only physical diseases. Here Adhayaha, Adhi refers to extreme mental disturbances. So people people under the rule of Yudhisthira Maharaj were not even subjected to intense extreme mental disturbances. Nadhayo vyadhaya klesha. They neither had mental agonies nor physical diseases, or even the disturbance from excessive heat or cold. So all these kleshas, daiva, bhuta, atmahetavaha, were conspicuous by their absence during the reign of Yudhisthira Maharaj, and definitely all these problems and difficulties and sufferings of the people of this world can be mitigated even today if we follow in the path, in the footsteps of Maharaj Yudhisthira. So further it is stated that Ushitva Hastinapure Masan Katipayan Harihi. Harihi, the Supreme Lord Krishna, Masan Katipayan Ushitva, after staying in Hastinapura with his beloved devotees, the Pandavas and Queen Kunti, so after staying with them for a few months, then Krishna now decided to depart from Hastinapura back to his abode Dwaraka. So Krishna was now also eager to go back to Dwaraka, because even the residents of Dwaraka, being pure devotees of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, were in intense feelings of viraha or separation. So the condition of the residents of Dwaraka, the Dwaraka Nivasis, in the absence of Krishna, we would see in the next chapter that how they would intensely aspire every moment to have the association of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. So now Krishna thought of going back to Dwaraka in order to pacify and console and give his personal association to his eternal associates in Dwaraka. So in this way, when Krishna prepared to depart from Hastinapura, it is very beautifully explained that Subhadra, Draupadi, Kunti, Virata, Tanaya, Tatha, Gandhari, Dhritarashtrascha, Yuyutsur, Gautamo, Yamo, Vrikodarascha, Dhaumyascha, Striyo, Matsya, Sutadayaha. At that time, Subhadra, Draupadi, Kunti, Uttara, Gandhari, Dhritarashtra, Yuyutsu, Kripacharya, Nakula, Sahareva, Bhimasena, Dhaumya, Satyavati, all the residents of Hastinapura, they came very eagerly so that they could meet Krishna at the time of his departure. It is also very beautifully explained here that when Krishna was about to depart, especially the Pandavas and Kunti and Draupadi and Subhadra, who were in Hastinapura now, they were unable to bear the separation from the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Na sehire vimuhyanto viraham sharangadhanvanaha. Na sehire viraham. They were unable to tolerate, or it was practically impossible for them to bear separation from the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, because the Pandavas, being self-realized and God-realized souls, firmly established in their eternal loving relationship with the Supreme Lord, being the eternal associates of the Supreme Lord, having realized their transcendental divine relationship with Sri Krishna. This is the eternal relationship of the Jivatma with the Paramatma, and being eternal in nature, there is no question of it's breaking at any point of time, although there may be samyoga and viyoga or viraha, but the divine transcendental bliss of the jivatmas in samyoga, in direct contact with the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, is infinite. The happiness derived by the jivatma in his eternal loving relationship with the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna is infinite, whereas the bliss and happiness derived by the jivatma with the Supreme Lord in viyoga, in viraha, is infinite of the infinite. So it is even more intense and even more higher. So therefore sometimes Krishna relishes both the rasa, both the chinmaya rasa, the spiritual mellows of meeting his devotees and also being in separation with them. So now Krishna was about to be separated from his pure devotees, the Pandavas at Hastinapura, and it is described very beautifully in 1.10.11 and 12 that Satsangan Mukta Dussango Hatum Not Sahate Buddhaha Kirtyamanam Yasho Yasya Sakrid Akarnya Rochanam Tasmin Yastadhiya Partha Saheran Viraham Katham Dakshana Sparsha Samlapa Shayanasana Bhojanehi. Even the wise and intelligent spiritualists who have understood the supreme absolute truth by good association and by giving up all material association, Satsangat Mukta Dussangaha, by association with pure devotees. So even they can never avoid even hearing the transcendental glories of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, and therefore they are engaged and absorbed continually in the glorification, in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. So how then could the Pandavas, who were so intimately related and associated with the Supreme Lord directly, how could they tolerate his separation? So this is the very, very wonderful explanation of the mellows of rasa of the pure devotees in meeting in samyoga as well as in viraha or viyoga. So sarve, all the Pandavas, all the residents of Hastinapura, sarve te animishe rakshes tam anudruta chetasaha vikshantaha sneha sambaddha vichelus tatra tatraha. It is described here that anudruta chetasaha, all of them without even blinking their eyes, animishe rakshes tam anudruta chetasaha, their hearts were melting in the pot of supreme attraction. In fact, the word Krishna means the supremely all attractive. So it is derived from the word akarshana or karshati iti Krishna. So the supreme absolute truth, Krishna, is the most attractive to all the living beings of this material world. In case, in our current present situation, if any living being is not attracted to the Supreme Lord, to the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna's name, form, pastimes, leela, guna, his dhamma, his supreme abode, it is only because of the material contamination that is covering us. A beautiful example is given that just like Krishna can be compared to the most powerful magnet. So Akarshana or karshati means to attract. So just like a very, very powerful magnet would automatically attract any iron particles. So likewise, the Supreme Absolute Truth, Krishna, is the most powerful magnet, and the Jivatmas, all the living entities of this world, they can be compared to tiny particles of metal or iron. So automatically the Jivatmas must be attracted to the name, form, pastimes and abode of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. But we are not so attracted, we are not so inclined to the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, because just like if iron has got rusted, so rusted or oxidation is nothing but impurities that are covering the original nature, the original state of iron. So likewise, our present unattraction to the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna is the manifestation of the huge amount of impurities or rust that are covering our soul. So as soon as we become purified, when our senses, mind and our soul is completely purified of all material contamination, we are naturally inclined and attracted to the supreme attractive Shri Krishna. So here the Pandavas, being in that ultimate purified spiritual state of existence, their hearts were melting in the pot of attraction towards the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna with unblinking eyes. They were just moving here and hither and thither, looking continually at the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. Nirundhan udghalad bashpam outkanthya devaki sute niryatya gharan no apashyam iti syad bandhavastriyaha. Especially all the female relatives, their eyes were flooded with tears. With tears of intense feelings of separation from Krishna, but they forcefully stopped and checked the flow of tears from their eyes. They were feeling intense separation from the Lord of their hearts, from the Lord of Lords, the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, but they were forcibly checking the flow of their tears because they did not want any kind of inauspiciousness to the Lord Krishna at the time of his departure. So it is also stated in the Vedic society and culture that one should not shed tears or be unhappy at the time of departure. So one should send off someone with happily, with a cheerful frame of mind. So therefore the women of Hastinapura, the relatives of Shri Krishna, were in this great dilemma. They were having intense feelings of separation, of viraha bhava, but at the same time, in order to avoid any kind of inauspiciousness by the exhibition of tears and lamentation at the departure of Krishna, they were stopping. So this kind of a conflict in their hearts was a very, very difficult situation. So it is now further very, very beautifully described that the entire metropolis, the entire city of Hastinapura has assembled, has come, and everyone has come very eagerly, with intense eagerness, to have the darshan of the Supreme Lord, the supremely beautiful and attractive Shri Krishna. So as the Lord was departing from the palace of Hastinapura, various kinds of musical instruments like the mridanga, nagara, dhundhuri, dundhubi, mridanga, shankha, bheriyascha, veena, panava, gomukhaha, dhundhuri, anaka, ghantadya, nedur, dundubhayastada. So all these musical instruments were sounded together to show him exemplary and great honor. So meanwhile, prasada shikhara rudha kurunaryo didrikshaya vavrushuhu kusume krishnam prema vrida smitekshanaha. Out of an intense desire to see the Supreme Lord, the royal ladies of the Kuru dynasty, they all climbed up prasada shikhara rudha. They climbed up to the terraces, to the top of their palaces, and with great affection and smiling with shyness, they all showered beautiful flowers, fragrant flowers on the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. Meanwhile, Arjuna, the most beloved friend and devotee of Shri Krishna, took up a umbrella. Sitatapatram, Atapatram means an umbrella. So a royal umbrella was taken by Arjuna. So he held it over Krishna, and this umbrella was embroidered. It was a golden umbrella embroidered with lace and pearls. Also, Uddhavaha Satyakishchaiva Vyajane Paramanpute. Vyajana means the white yak-tail fan was blown by Uddhava and Satyaki, other great devotees of the Supreme Lord. In fact, Uddhava is the dearmost friend of Krishna in Dwaraka. So Uddhava and Satyaki began to fan Lord Shri Krishna, and in this way, Anyonyamasit Sanjalpa Uttama Shloka Chetasam Kauravendra Purastrinam Sarvashruti Manoharaha. It is now described that Anyonyamasit Sanjalpa Uttama Shloka Chetasam, absorbed in the thought of the transcendental qualities of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, Kauravendra Purastrinam, the ladies on the roofs of all the houses of Hastinapura began to discuss and talk among themselves. And the ladies of Hastinapura, Kauravendra Purastrinam, the Hastinapura Strinam, they began to offer very beautiful prayers to Shri Krishna. So we have already discussed in the previous chapters, in the 8th chapter, the prayers of Queen Kunti to Krishna. In the 9th chapter, Bhishma Deva's prayers to Shri Krishna. And here in the 10th chapter of the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam are the beautiful prayers of the female residents of Hastinapura to the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. And it is also mentioned here that Sarva Shruti Manoharaha, the prayers offered by the women of Hastinapura was more pleasing and more attractive than Shruti, than even the hymns of the Vedas. So the various hymns and songs and mantras of the Vedas are very, very beautifully chanted in glorification of the Supreme Lord. But it requires a lot of study and training to properly chant the Vedic mantras. But here, even out of simple affection and devotion, the prayers of the women of Hastinapura are mentioned to have surpassed even the Vedic mantras in not only their composition but also in the realization of the absolute truth. Because we are going to see now here there are 10 beautiful prayers offered by the women of Hastinapura from 1 1.10.21 to 1.10.30. So these prayers are recorded here in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that it begins with 1.10.20. Savai kilayam purusha puratano ya eka asida vishesha atmani agre gunebhyo jagadatmanishware nimilitatman nishisupta shaktishu. The women of Hastinapura are expressing the greatest philosophical truths in these prayers. They are praying here that here he is, the original supreme personality of Godhead. Savai kilayam purusha puratanaha. Here Shri Krishna, he is the purusha puratanaha. He is the original supreme personality of Godhead, and he alone existed before the manifested creation, and finally, even after the complete destruction, after Laya, all living entities merge in him with all their energy suspended. So the one, so this is also stated in the Upanishads, that na brahmano, na ishano, na rudraha, that none eko narayano asit. So that only Narayana, Shri Krishna, existed before the manifested material creation, and after the destruction only he is going to exist. Of course, this is only with regard to the material creation. The spiritual world and all the inhabitants of the spiritual world are eternal, and they exist eternally, and they are never affected by the creation and destruction of this material world. They also further pray that sa eva bhuyo nija virya choditam swajiva mayam prakritim sisrikshatim anama rupatmaninu rupanamani vidhit samano nusasara shastrakrit. This supreme original personality of Godhead Krishna again repeatedly creates, destroys, and at the beginning of every creation imparts the various names and forms and identities to the various jivatmas who are his swajiva mayam prakritim sisrikshatim. To all of them, the living entities who are placed under his material nature. So in this way, the material nature is empowered to create and recreate, and this cycle of creation and destruction is eternally going on. So in that way, Prakriti or material nature is eternal, but it is subject to creation and destruction. They further say that Sava ayam yat padamatra surayo jitendriya nirjita matarishvanaha pashyanti bhaktyut kalita amalatmana nanvesha sattvam parimashtumarhati. Here, the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, he is present. He is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose divine transcendental form is realized, is revealed to the great pure devotees who are completely cleansed of all material contamination by the dint of rigid devotional service or bhakti, and by full control of the life and the senses. So this, they say, is the only way to purify one's existence. So in this way, the women of Hastinapura are actually describing the highest philosophical truths about the supreme absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. Further, in 1.10.24, they explain that Sava ayam, in every shloka, in every prayer, in every verse, they are saying Sava, this Krishna, he is the self same, and then they describe that this is the real truth about the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. So they are saying here further again that Sava ayam sakyanugita satkatho vedeshu guhyeshu cha guhyavadibihi ya eka isho jagadatma leelaya srijatyavatyatina tatra sajjate. That, oh my dear friends, here is the very same Supreme Personality of Godhead who is the most attractive and whose confidential pastimes, eternal pastimes, are described only in the most confidential parts of the Vedic literatures by his great pure unalloyed devotees. It is he only, this Krishna is the one who is Srijati Avati Atti Natatra Sajjate. He is the one who creates, maintains and annihilates the entire material world and yet remains completely natatra sajjate. He remains completely aloof and unaffected by these actions of creation, maintenance and destruction. They further explain that yadahya dharmena tamodhiyo nripa jivanti tatraisha hi satvata kila dhatte bhagam satyamritam dayam yasho bhavaya rupani dadhad yuge yuge. Whenever the kings and administrators of this world become godless, become averse to the principles of religious instruction as given in the Vedic scriptures, the Lord Yuge Yuge, in every millennium, he incarnates in his divine transcendental form and rectifies this situation of dharma glyani or dharmyachuti, the deviation of humanity from the principles of religion. So after glorifying the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna in these choicest of poetry, in these choicest of words, the women of Hastinapura now glorify the divine eternal abodes of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. The Supreme Lord Shri Krishna is eternal. His abode is also eternal. So the divine eternal abode of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna is known as Vaikuntha Loka, and in Vaikuntha Loka it is explained very elaborately in the Srimad Bhagavatam and also in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana that Vaikuntham Sarvopari, the topmost spiritual abode in Vaikuntha Loka, is the personal abode of the Supreme Original Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, which is known as